grade 11 mindsetters. I know you guys are excited. We have Llewellyn in with studio with us. I am Looney. Llewellyn, how are you doing?
Right in yourself. You all doing well? I hope so. Well, I think after last week's lesson, I needed a bit of a break. So what I did was I didn't bring anything to this afternoon, or tonight, should I say, so that I didn't get my hands smelly. Because for 2 days, my hands were smelling beautiful. You know what I'm trying to say? Right? They were stunning. But you must also understand that when we do things, right, there's always a fun part to it, and there's always work part to it, right? Now, we've done the fun part. Now we have to buckle down and do the work part.
Okay,
right.
just before we do that, can I just remind them, guys, Facebook, it's facebook.com/learnextra. Twitter, it's @learnextra. And you can download all your show notes at learnextra.co.za/live. I'd like to thank Macmillan for sponsoring our show. And guys, remember, this is the book that we use in studio for all the notes and everything that we go through. So it would be great if you guys just got yourself this book, hey? It's a lovely book. Anyway, Llewellyn, back to you.
Sorry, I forgot. Without that, we're nowhere, right?
Nowhere.
Am I right, Lee? Well, sorry. I'm a little bit sick, so deal with me today. Hopefully we can get through this and you can hear me completely perfectly. Well, let's have a look. Today we're going to have a look at the processes, humans, so us, myself and Looney. I know sometimes one of us isn't human, and I think it's me, but we come down to it. We need to find out how digestion actually takes place. Right, so we're going to have a look at human digestive system. Let's have a look if I can get some color on a pen. Right, there we go. The digestive system. There's two different types. Can you remember? Okay, the first one we had a look at was mechanical, and the second one was chemical. Mechanical, it's very easy. Okay, it's all about physical work. Okay, chemical is the lazy way out. Hey, what do you think, Looney? Chemical's definitely the lazy way out. If you want to get something of something and you throw a chemical on it and it strips it, you can just stand and watch. Right. Now, other one is scrubbing. Right. So, get that right. Two things that we need to know. So, let's go for it. Now, what I've done is I've put a human across here, and I've made sure that I give you all his different parts. Now, you won't understand it yet, because to me it looks nice and small, but the human in there looks nice and colorful, which is cool. So let's start off the first thing. I'm going to change colors because I heard green is quite nice. Right, so let's have a look at it. We all know the mouth, okay? What do we do when we take food into the mouth? First of all, it's ingestion, okay? We're putting food into our mouth. That's the first main important thing that we must look at. Ingestion, putting food into the mouth. Okay, now, just close your eyes and imagine. You're sitting there and you take, give me something nice, Looney. Something that you love.
To eat. Cake.
Cake. So you take a piece of cake and you put it in your mouth. What's the first thing that happens? Okay, you take it to the left side of your mouth. You chew it to the right side of your mouth. Your tongue, the most inquisitive organ in the world, will move it to the left, to the right, to the front. We go all crazy. Now, what is that tongue actually doing? Okay, it's inquisitive for a reason. It's trying to mush it and squash it and get it all over the place. Right. Now, underneath, you also get the stuff over here. If we have a look at it, where is it? There. Right over there. It's these blue things. Okay? It's at the back of your mouth. They're called salivary glands. Now, salivary glands is there for a specific reason. Okay? Now, can you imagine you get this cake and you put it in your mouth and you start chewing it and you have got no saliva? It doesn't work. And how will you test it? Try this. You need to go home and buy, what's that stuff called? It's a cereal, okay? Now, when I was younger, we used to try and have a race, because this is awesome. You take Wheat Pix, you know the one block of Wheat Pix, right? And you put it in front of you whole, and you try and eat it without milk, okay? Whoever finishes the Wheat Pix first gets a nice big liter of, we used to call it Nesquik. Right, so nice, something nice to drink. Now, I have never completed it, because what that does is it sucks up all the saliva, and now you can't. It's like, you like breathe out, and it's just all over the place. It's like a powder. Right, so this gland over here is very important, okay? That gland produces saliva. Now, saliva, first of all, makes the food nice and moist, right? And it moves everything around, and it creates this huge, big thing that we can swallow, right? And that's called a bolus. The bolus is a food that's mixed, it's all over the place, and an enzyme is added. Because salivary gland is not just going to add water, it's got to add something that's very important. Okay? It's called amylase. Okay, and if I have a look, without the amylase, we're not going to get anywhere. And amylase does specific things. We will get to those specific things just now. But I just want to, we're going to work on it as we go along. I'm going to give you the hormone, the enzymes and the chemicals and all of that. And then when we get to them, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's the first thing. Then we go down this big pipe over here. If you remember, I cut it up. The little pig's one was very short. Okay, I stuck my finger in it to show you how nice and big it got. Okay, and most of that, okay, is a muscle. And remember, those muscles, actually one contracts and the one relaxes, and they work antagonistically to each other. Now, the reason why that happens is we actually still crushing the food. We're still mechanically breaking the food down. We're pushing it all over the place. I mean, it's like if you've made bread. Have you ever made bread, Looney?
Bread, no, but I've seen people make bread.
What do? What's the biggest thing?
They knead.
They knead it. So they give it almost like this, and it's like a dance, right? Right? So they knead it. Now, that's what the esophagus is actually doing. It's moving it and it's pushing it in to make sure that the amylase from the salivary glands are actually going into this whole part. Right. Okay. So that's the next thing. That's the next part. Then we're going to get past this funny thing here, which is quite cool. It's called, it's a muscle, right? And the name is over here. It's the, where is it? It's the cardiac sphincter, okay? Because it's up here. It's just above this big storage place that you always say, when you're full, that's what's full. Can you remember what it is?
Your stomach.
Stomach, very nice. She's on the ball.
On a roll.
So, just above the stomach is this cardiac sphincter. Now, a sphincter is actually a round muscle. That's the name for it, okay? Round muscle. So what this does is, it closes like this, and when food comes, it opens, the food goes in, and then it closes again. Okay, so it stops the food from coming up. Okay, because it needs to be closed. It's got to be a bag. So there'll be one on the top and one at the bottom. Okay, very important. So, we got this sphincter, and then we go into this big, funny, kidney-shaped thing. Okay? Now, you remember when I cut this stomach open last week, on the top, if I have a look at this, on the edge part, so this piece over here, okay, there was this white type of colored tissue. Can you remember? Okay? And then the inside part, if I can change a color to pink, this inside part here had this type of red. And the question they asked was, why is it like that? And remember I said to you that the one part is more of a muscle and the other one's more of connecting tissue. Because now you must remember, the stomach is a big factory. And all it does in the beginning is mechanical digestion, right? It squishes and it moves and it goes crazy all over the place. Okay? Don't forget that. Its main job is to squish and to move and to go crazy. That part on the outside that was the connective tissue, that white part, it stretches and moves so that the muscle can actually do its work. Right? So if the whole thing was muscle, it wasn't going to work as nicely. So they put this band of non-muscle in there so that when the squeezes, the food can move somewhere. Right? Okay, so we have that part. And inside here, which is quite cool, okay, one enzyme, no, I can't say enzyme, one type of chemical is added, okay? And that chemical can give you big problems if you, like for example, chewing gum, okay? Can you remember what that was? You don't have a clue?
Chemical.
Yeah, it's a small little chemical. It's
No.
You might not get this, but remember what happens if that chemical eats the lining of the stomach? What do we get? Can you remember that?
Ulcers.
An ulcer, right? And you will notice that a lot of people, they say they get heartburn. What is heartburn? That's when your heart is sore and your love is gone and it hurts like you have no. It's not that, is it? Right. What it actually is, it's this part here, this stuff, this liquid that I'm talking about is actually running up over here, up the esophagus, and it starts burning the sides. And the reason why you can feel it burning is because the esophagus is not made to carry that chemical, should I say. Okay, so do you know what that chemical is? I've been talking about it, and I'm trying not to say it, but I'm sure the guys in the rooms and wherever you're sitting and watching and enjoying this, right, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is called hydrochloric acid.
Oh, that.
Hey? Now, we have that in science as well, right? And they always say, stay away from it. Now, this stuff, okay, is very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous, okay? It works very nicely in the stomach. What it does is it starts breaking down all the proteins, okay? It doesn't break it down into nothing. This hydrochloric acid starts making... I was talking to a friend, and we were trying to all think about how could we get this right. So how are we going to explain what hydrochloric acid actually does? It actually, try this out, it makes everything into a mush. You think of anything else, a mush, just like there, something there. You know, everything's broken up and it's just a mush, right? That's what we find in the stomach. And the stomach needs to get the whole thing getting from that mush, so it churns and it moves and it goes crazy, right? So in the stomach, we put in hydrochloric acid, which starts breaking down a protein. Right. Then, I want to get through this whole piece. There we get down this little piece over here. Now, it's the first part of the small intestine. Now this is where we stop doing mechanical digestion and we start going through chemical. Okay, because this top piece is physically strong. It's an athlete. It was giving horns to everything. It just wants to go like the Energizer Bunny, right? The next part is lazy. It's like me. As lazy as I could sit on the couch and relax and enjoy it. No, I'm not lazy like that. I would never be. But that part is all about chemical digestion. Okay? Now, the nice part about it is that you actually put chemicals in. The chemicals break it down. Okay? And then when we get to this small intestines here, which is this piece, okay, this whole middle piece over here, that's where absorption takes place, okay, and then we go into the large intestines where it only absorbs water and make feces. That is the whole part of digestion. Now, what we want to do today, which is very, 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 very important, is explain all these chemicals that from the mouth all the way down to the anus. What chemicals we use. Because those are the chemicals that's going to get you through. Okay? Because without those, we're in big trouble. Okay? So, let's have a look at the first one. The digestive system is composed of the following things. Let's take it nicely. Okay. First, the mouth with teeth. There we go. Mechanical digestion. Nice, easy, simple. Okay, we're biting. Remember, when it comes to the mechanical digestion in the mouth, remember you've got to know the theory on how the teeth work. So you've got to know about your incisors. You've got to know about your canines. You've got to know about your premolars, and you've got to know about your molars. And don't forget that when they give you a little diagram, they normally go 3, 1, 3, 2. I'm just putting numbers down, and it'll be 3, 1, 3, 2. They put a line over it. Just remember, that's the top half of the jaw, that's the bottom half of the jaw, that's the left side of the jaw only, or the right side of the jaw only. Okay, don't forget it, very important. Then, we go to the esophagus, okay, that comes from the mouth. It joins the mouth to the stomach, as I was going through it nice and easily. And remember, it does do some type of mechanical digestion by actually moving the food down. Right. That process that we use there is very, very important, and I'm going to explain it just now and how it works. Right? Then we have the stomach. Okay, the stomach. Oh, hey, come back here if I can find you all the way back up there. The stomach, which is a big machine that actually mixes and grinds and adds hydrochloric acid. And remember, there we go. That's where mechanical and chemical digestion. It's where the two meet together. Okay, so we had the mouth. Chemicals are added, but mostly it was mechanical. Then the esophagus, it's pushing all those, that amylase, can you remember I said amylase, inside this food. Okay, then it goes into the stomach. The stomach adds hydrochloric acid, and it starts moving it. It's chemical, it's breaking it down. Right, there we go to the small intestine, where digestion of food, and it gets, you start digesting food through certain chemicals. Okay, this is where it is. And the reason why we do it there is because we need to start absorbing all the good stuff. So if I have a look at the substances absorbed from the digestive system, which means all the food has been taken in, it's very, very, very important. Okay, that's why we eat. And then lastly, we go to the large intestines, right, where the only thing that is absorbed, here we go, is this specific thing. Nice, very important. Water is absorbed all the time. That's its job. That's all it does. Nothing else. Right, so while you guys get up and have a good stretch, because we need to lengthen everything inside so that it doesn't get stuck and all funny things like that, I think we need a break. Hey, Looney, what do you think?
Okay, let's take a short break.
Cool.
Guys, we are going to take a very short break. Remember, I have posted everything that Llewellyn has just gone over on the Facebook page, so you'll see the stomach is where the food and everything is on the page, guys. So remember, I'm keeping you updated as we go through the show, so you guys won't be lost. Remember to post all your questions on Facebook and on Twitter, and then we'll see you straight after this break. Welcome back, Mindsetters. We're having so much fun here in studio. People making fun of me, but it's okay. We're with Llewellyn and we're doing the human. Right now, we're going through the human digestive system. Yes. So I hope you guys are paying attention. We've got all our descriptions there. I did post the picture on Facebook, so you guys should be going through it as Llewellyn is talking. Right now, though, I'm going to take it back to Llewellyn.
Nice. Have you noticed how serious she gets when she says the digestive system? Right? Because it was serious. Last time I saw this lady, she had her hands inside the digestive system and playing with it and giving it horns. It was ugly, but it was brilliant. Right. So we saw that last. And now we need to go into chemical parts. Right. So we're going to start off right at the top, which of course is the mouth. In the mouth, we have a look at certain glands. Now, if you have a look at the board, it says here, the salivary glands, the salivary glands are situated in the mouth. Okay, there it is on the board, in the mouth, right? It produces an enzyme, and that enzyme is very, very, very important. Okay, if we have a look on the board again, of course, the enzyme is called amylase. Now, you've got the spelling, and you cannot get it wrong. Okay, now, understand, the most difficult thing to break down, okay, the most difficult thing to break down in humans is your carbohydrates and your starch and everything, right? We're not built to break those things down. Well, not grass, for instance. Okay? We are built to break down more of a meat, more, yes, we can break carbohydrates and all of that. Just with plant tissues, we cannot break the cellulose down very easily. Okay? So we need to start it off nice and fresh. So what actually happens is we add saliva to it. And starch, can you remember that when we did photosynthesis, the byproduct of photosynthesis is glucose, and they always store it as starch. Okay. Now, if you add amylase to starch, what it does is it starts changing the starch back into sugar. That's why when you eat bread, when you eat pasta, when you eat all those type of things, they actually go nice and sweet in your mouth. Have you tasted that? You put it in and it becomes nice and sweet, hey, Looney? It's awesome. It's lekker. So it starts in with your mouth and it gets pushed down. So let's have a look at it. Okay, the digestion, let me turn the pen around, digestion of starches and carbohydrates. Very, very, very important. Okay, it's the first bit of enzyme that we actually get into our human body. Okay, now, it goes down into the esophagus. Okay, I'm going to do the whole process just now. I just want to give you all these special things that we need. Okay, then, last week, we had a look right at the end. We had a look at this big red piece of meat. Can you remember, Looney? Big red piece of meat is right at the end. And when I turned it upside down, there was this yellow ball at the bottom. Okay. Can you remember what that was? Okay. We all have it. That thing is so important, you have no idea. Because it breaks down specific things. Not only does it break it down, it also produces specific enzymes for our body. So, let's have a look at it. That whole thing there was the liver. And it produces this thing called bile. Now, it doesn't taste very nice. It's actually horrible. Okay? And what bile actually does is it breaks down amino acids. Okay. What actually happens is, I know that here it says it breaks down this is what the liver does. It breaks down amino acids, it breaks down alcohol, and other hormones and drugs. But bile, that stuff that I'm talking about, that gets put in the top part of the small intestines, right? Now, if I had to go back just slightly, okay, and I had to bring it over there, this top piece over here, okay, this big part over here is called your liver, okay, and over here is where we store that bile, okay. Now, bile is very important because it breaks down the proteins, okay, because bile is made up of a couple of things. It's not just one little enzyme, okay, it's made up of a couple of things. For example, it's made up of things called lactase, okay. Now, lactase, I'm sure your mom would know. Lactase, let's see if Luna does. Luna, what does lactase mean?
I don't know.
Okay, now you will notice that a lot of people know what lactase is because when they had kids, they learnt about this child is lactose intolerant.
That's got something to do with dairy.
Dairy, very good, very nice. Lactose has got to do with milk and dairy products. What lactose actually does, right, is it breaks down your dairy products. That's the first thing. So that's what we found inside bile. So if we've got a bucket and we want to make bile, we're going to chuck the stuff that breaks down dairy products, we're going to chuck it in there and enjoy it. Right, that's the first thing. Then, the second thing, we're going to go along and we need to break down fats. Okay, now fats, can you give me the name for fats? Can you think of the name for fats? Okay, it's lipids. Okay, it sounds nice, lipids. Okay, now we need to break down fats. So we use lipase, okay, which breaks down its fat into fatty acids and, can you think of it? I'm going to leave it at fatty acids and something else. I want to know what it is. Okay, put that onto Facebook.
Okay.
Fatty acids and something. Okay, so we're going to get back to that. And then lastly, it breaks down proteins. Now, proteins are very important to us because I can't just use any protein to build my body. Okay, I need to break down proteins into its most simplest monomers, which I know somebody was asking. Okay, its most simplest monomers, its building blocks. Okay, and those building blocks are important to us. So we need to break proteins into monomers, and that proteins is protease. That part that breaks it down is called protease. Okay, so that's what bile actually does. Okay, it's a whole mixture of different enzymes to create one big enzyme, and it gets chucked in the beginning part of the small intestines. Right. So if I carry on going down, gallbladder. Can you remember on that big liver, we saw that big yellow thing at the bottom? Can you remember? So let me go back to this picture at the top here. And it was, see that little thing that I circled there? Oh, wait, let's move that out the way so you can see what I'm talking about. That part over there, that is called your gallbladder. It stores the bile because this thing will make it, the liver will make it, and it'll put it to one side. Now, the bile for the pig that we had a look at was yellow. And if you remember the liver that we had a look at, it had yellow all over the place. Now, that was because that bile started leaking out. We punctured the gallbladder, so the bile started leaking out. You want to hear some interesting, wait, I'll get back to it. I don't want to spill it yet. I was going to jump the gun there. Can you believe it? Now, gallbladder stores bile, and it's produced by the liver, as I said. Okay, let me just underline it. I'll use white. Produced by the liver. Okay, so gallbladder stores the bile. Nice. Now, we'll move it down. Here's a nice one again. Okay, we've got the thing called a pancreas. Okay, now, a lot of people that are, what's those people that can't eat sugars? Diabetics. Very nice, you see. That's why I have you here. Because when it's like, leave my head, you've got it. You can see me here. Right, diabetics. What they do is when they eat carbohydrates, and remember, carbohydrates like your bread and your carbohydrates all have starch in it. Remember what I said? Maltase breaks it down into sugars, so glucose. Now, what actually happens is you eat these glucose, and the body takes it in. Okay? Now, the body needs to actually store the glucose. Now, it can't just store it because it's dangerous. So what we need to do is we actually need to put it somewhere, or we need to store it as something so that the body goes, oh, hold on, that is not glucose, it's something else. It's a disguise, right? Okay, now, your pancreas, there it is, your pancreas, yeah, this brother here, okay? Your pancreas is very cool. It produces this thing called insulin, okay, and glucagon. Okay, there they are, insulin and glucagon. Now, they are very important with sugar. If your body doesn't, or if your pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin, we actually have people that need to inject it into them, right? Just think about it carefully. I've got a very good friend's brother that actually does it, okay? Remember Tara, her brother does insulin, right? Takes a lot of it. Now, that there is very important because it becomes very poisonous to our body, okay? Now, it changes, try this out, glucose into glycogen, okay, which we'll get to later. Okay, very important. And glycogen gets changed back into glucose by glucagon. Nice and easy. Just throwing it out there, giving some extra information so you know what's going on. Okay, and it does pancreatic juices. Now, try this out. We've just come from the stomach, yes? And in the stomach, can you remember that chemical we added? What was it, Luni? What?
The stomach.
Yeah, what chemical did we throw into the stomach?
I don't remember.
Yo, it's going to take a long day. Hydrochloric acid.
Oh, man.
Come on,
Oh,
stay
yeah,
with the program. It's
that.
like on the tip of your tongue.
Come
Right,
on.
so hydrochloric acid gets added. And that, let me put it this, hydrochloric acid. Okay, it's an acid, means it's very acidic. Okay, now, when it comes to digesting of food, a lot of things break down in things that are basic, in other words, a base, the opposite of an acid, and then you get stuff that break down as an acid. Okay, so now if we have a look at it, protein, right in the beginning, we added hydrochloric acid to make it mushy and break it down, right? Now we need a base. Inside the small intestines, we actually need, something that is not acidic, because it doesn't work as well. It has to be non-acidic. If I've just put hydrochloric acid in my stomach, okay, and I'm coming down into the small intestines, right, how am I going to change it? That's where this pancreatic juices starts involving itself, okay? It has got a base inside that actually changes the acidity or the pH level of the area. Okay, so that certain things can take place because your protease. That's going to be a long day. Okay, your protease. It took me a while to get it. Your protease actually has to be in a base to actually start decreasing or breaking things down. Right, the same as your lipase and your lactase. They're all very important. They've got to be in a base. Okay, and then lastly, remember watch this. Stomach. Hydrochloric acid. Yo, that went all funny. But stomach produces hydrochloric acid. Very important. Right, so.
Llewellyn?
Yes.
Quickly, when you asked the question about the fatty acids, we've got some people who said glycerol. Is that how you pronounce it?
Glycerol.
Glycerol.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Fatty acids and glycerol.
Yes.
Very nice. And some people tell me they're not smart. My word.
So many of them.
Oh, it's scary.
I wish I'd say all your names, but you guys are superstars, all of you. Well done.
I'm
Glycerol.
so glad to hear that. Very nice. Now, remember I said to you, we're going to get to the esophagus and how it moves. Now, this is the best picture I could find, right? And if you have a look at the food, this part here, okay, I'm going to make it white because you can actually see it quite nicely. This part of this muscle, this part of the muscle is contracting, right? This part changed color to yellow, okay? That part is relaxing, okay? So that can push the food. And now watch, as this part moves down, this part starts contracting and this part starts relaxing. Okay, it's called peristalsis movement. Okay, and while peristalsis movement actually starts taking place, it pushes, think about it, it's pushing this food, and as it pushes, it mixes the food together to go all the way down to the stomach. Okay, very important. Now, let's carry on. chemical digestions use enzymes. Now we're starting to get into the nitty-gritty part. It uses enzymes, right, to break down food into its basic chemical compounds, okay, to make it easy to absorb. Because we don't need the food. We need the chemicals that make the food. Right, so there we go. For the absorption in the body uses certain things. It doesn't use all the stuff. So we break stuff down, we grab what we need, and the rest must go. That's why we have feces at the end. Right, so the enzymes are controlled. Let's check here. The enzymes control the chemical breakdown, right? The chemical breakdown. So not physically, we can break things physically, but when it gets to a certain part, we can't break it anymore. That's where the enzymes come in. Okay, now, here we go. This is the things that I was telling you about, okay? Enzymes are sensitive to temperature and to the pH, how acidic or how basic certain things are, right? Also very important. And then there was a nice thing, enzymes act, as I said, act on different pH levels, right? And it goes all over in the body. All this whole pH, it starts going through the whole of the small intestine system. It starts moving, and as it's moving, it's breaking things down. Okay, so we'll start on the outside, breaking the stuff down on the outside, and that stuff will be absorbed, and we'll go deeper and deeper, and it starts absorbing it as we go. It starts breaking it down, and that stuff comes out and gets absorbed. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail of the small intestines on how it absorbs, right? Because I want to do that next week with you. Right, okay? And then, let's have a look. There are a large number of glands and organs which do this, which we've mentioned. We've got the liver, we've got the pancreas, we've got the salivary glands, right? So all of those things involve themselves with digestion, right? So I need a break again because I can feel myself coming into a coughing fit. So you go have a break. I'm going to have a break. Looney's going to have a break, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
All right. Guys, I'd like to say congratulations and well done to all you smarty pants out there. There are so many of you, so many of you guys. I wish I could mention all your names, but well done. It was glycerol. So we're going to take a very short break, but do stay tuned because we're going to continue with all of that. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back, Mindsetters. I hope you guys are good to go for the last segment of the show. Just to remind you guys, we are using this book. It's written Solutions for All, Life Sciences. Then it's got all these people here. Then it's written down here at the bottom, Learner's Book 11. You guys asked me about this book on Facebook, so that's the name of the book. So it's good to have this, guys, because it helps you quite a lot. Llewellyn?
It's got lovely pictures. I must admit. Me and pictures, that's how I learn. Pictures. The more pictures, the better. So, talking about pictures, right? We've gone through all this. Now we need to know what it actually looks like. So, what I've done is I've stretched it out. I took this digestive system, and I gave Looney this side, and I grabbed this side, and we walked, right? And we ended off with something that looks like that. Am I right? Can you remember? That's what it roundabout looked like when I did the pig, right? One straight long strap. So let's start off from the top. The mouth. Let's take another color, pink. The mouth goes through mechanical digestion. I know I'm repeating myself all the time, but this is what it's about. Okay, so the mouth goes through mechanical digestion. Then you get amylase. Over there, amylase, nice and big, and it comes from the salivary glands, okay? And what does amylase do? Amylase, digestion starts into maltose. Now, maltose is a little bit similar, okay, or a little bit, it breaks down starch into a sweet substance. It's called maltose, right? It's nice and sweet, okay? That doesn't mean we absorb maltose. Okay, we need to break it down even further later on. So all we've done is we've taken starch and carbohydrates, and we've added amylase, and we're going to get maltose. That whole part becomes maltose, right? Then we go through the esophagus, which is over there, and during that time, right, what are we going through? Peristalsis movement, and peristalsis movement is still a mechanical type of digestion. Right, so if we go back, we get to the stomach, which is nice and round, and what do we find in the stomach? First of all, gastric juices from the gastric gland. We've got some protease, okay, which breaks down protein, but most of it, all the stuff that we really need, okay, is your hydrochloric acid. Now, I didn't see hydrochloric acid on here, but very important to understand that that is what the stomach actually does. In the lining of the stomach, you get little cells that produce hydrochloric acid that starts breaking down protein. Right. Okay, when we go a little bit further down, if I'm starting to get there, there it is. Sorry. You get your small intestine, which is the beginning part of it. Then you get, here on the side, you get your pancreatic, your pancreas, and that throws in a nice tube into over here, it throws the pancreatic juices. Okay? Now, what does that have in it? Watch this carefully. This stuff you already know about. Amylase. Okay? What is amylase? It breaks down your starch. So now we've added amylase again, because remember, it's come down the esophagus into the stomach, and now we've added hydrochloric acid. Okay? That's the first thing. We're also adding in protease and lipase. Nice and easy. Okay? On this side, okay, amylase, it tells you what amylase does when it gets into this part. The beginning, remember, we added amylase, and it took starch and made maltose. Right? Now we add more amylase, we break it down even further, and it breaks it down into its monosaccharides. Now, what is a monosaccharide? Can you remember? It's the building blocks. We've taken it from this, and we've made it into that. Or we've taken it from that, and we've molded it into that. Okay, so this one here, let's say this is a starch molecule, right? The amylase breaks it down from there into something like that. Okay? Then amylase is added again, and it takes this and it breaks it into much smaller compounds. Okay. Also, we're going to start adding in this, what is that stuff called? Your, help me out here, Luna.
What,
the liver. It's your bile. There we go.
Oh, so confused.
Your bile. Your bile, you'll notice that they haven't put bile in here either. Now, the reason why they haven't put bile in here is because normally your pancreatic juice and your bile gets added in at the same time. Okay? They join together and then they get put in. Okay? So if you had a look at it, I think it was 2 ones up. I just want to make sure. There it is. Okay? Look over here. There it is. Can you see it? Okay? And it's going to come. Where's the other one? There's 2 pipes coming in. Can you see it? That one's going to come from there, and they're going to join in together so that it joins together into one pipe later on. Okay, that is the whole point why they only put pancreatic juices in. Now, this all looks hella funny. There's a lot of different colors and a lot of different funny things. It's just there to make it look interesting. Now, let's have a look at it. Lipase, okay, breaks down fats into fatty acids. Wait, hold on. There we go. Lipase breaks it down into fatty acids and glycerol. You guys are brilliant. Okay? So it breaks it down into fatty acids and glycerol. And if you have a look at it, you get your fatty acids, which would be the green part, and you get, looks like an E on the page, and it breaks it down into all the different sections. Okay? There we go. Then you get your protease, which breaks down your protein molecules into amino acids. Okay, that's the next one. And your monomers need to be broken down, your polymers need to be broken down into monomers. And that's where we always talk about things get broken down even further. Monomers are single things, polymers are more. So if I had a look at it, you would get a amino acid is the building block of protein. So if I say to you, the monomers of protein is amino acids, and the polymer is the protein. I hope you understood that nice and easily. Right, so that is the whole digestive system. Right, I don't think I put anything more there, no. Now, that is just breaking down. not once have I mentioned absorption. Not once have I told you how the stuff comes from inside the body to the outside. Right, so that I'm going to leave for next week. One thing I am going to say is, you will notice that you have, let's say, that is the small intestines, and that one is the large intestines. All your food, all your nutrients, everything else gets taken in the small intestines. The minute you go into the large intestines, we are not going to grab anything sweet anymore. Nothing that we can, no minerals, no salts, no fat, no protein, no amino acids, no nothing. That sounds terrible. Okay? Nothing gets taken in except for your water. And a nice question that was asked, and I saw somebody answer it, right, was what happens if your large intestine stops working? Well, Looney, can you remember what the answer was?
When your
Large intestine stops working, what do you get?
a runny tummy.
Very nice. You become full of liquid on the inside,
my gosh.
right? And it doesn't absorb the liquid. And that is why, if you get a runny tummy, you need to still drink, because some of the water is getting absorbed, but a lot of it is not. So you can go through dehydration very, very easily. Right, so I hope I've made sense there to you guys. Small intestine absorbs all your nutrients. Your large intestine only absorbs water. Right, so now, I'm glad we've gotten through that. Now, of course, question, the most important part of life science, the way we try and confuse you by asking stupid things, always. It's like, what color is my shirt? Or what color is bouncing off my shirt that you see? It's the same thing. It's still purple. Yeah? It's just the way we ask it to confuse you. Must know your stuff very well. Okay, let's have a look. Give the correct word or term for each of the following. The process whereby food is eaten. Okay? I'm not talking about mechanical digestion. I'm not talking about chemical digestion. The part where we take food off, the cake, isn't it?
Cake, yes.
Cake on a fork in the mouth. What is that part called? Okay, that is ingestion. We're taking the food into our mouth. Right, so that's the first one. The process whereby food is eaten is ingestion. Right, nice and easy. Now, let's have a look at the next one. The substance stored in the gallbladder. Remember that yellow stuff on that liver? Can you remember? That is the gallbladder. Now, I want to know what we store in there. Remember, it's made up of protease. It's a long day. Protease. It's made up of lipase. It's made up of lipase. And what's the other one to do with milk?
Lactase.
Lactase. But you see, you on the ball today. And
Hello.
lactase, right. It's made up of that. Can you remember what it was? Okay, and once that is added, we start breaking everything down. Everything starts breaking down, the most important things. Right, so what is it called? It is called bile. Okay, very nice. I hear Luna there. Bile. She's screaming like it's going out of fashion. I'm impressed. She's learning something like I was. Right, so bile is stored in the gallbladder. Very nice. Now, this is a good one. The wave-like contractions of the esophagus. Don't you love that word esophagus? Hey?
Yeah, it
It's
sounds
like
very...
just rolls off the tongue. Right, esophagus, the wave-like motions. Now, guys, you've got to understand something very important. The answer to this, big words, well, the wave-like constructions of the esophagus, okay? The answer to that is very simple, okay? It's peristalsis. Now, the reason why I'm stopping here is that whenever I say to my boys, give me an explanation of peristalsis, what do you think they do? It's very simple. So I know the answer. It's this. That's not, what is this? Can you tell me what this is? This is pulling something and putting one hand in front of it means nothing. Okay? It means absolutely, this means nothing. You need to use this to explain to me what it is. Okay? Are you going to write in your test one day, well, it's one hand squeezing and the other one relaxing, and then the next hand, and the joins one in front of the other, because that's what you're showing me. It's a very simple thing. It is a wave-like construction of the esophagus, or it's a wave-like motion made from the muscles moving antagonistically or contracting and relaxing antagonistically to each other. Very important. Okay, so that we understand each other. Nice. There we got the breakdown of excess amino acids by the liver. Now, I did not tell you this. I want you to remember this. Excess. Must understand something very nicely. That amino acids are brilliant for us. But too much is actually very bad. Because what actually happens is, if it starts breaking down, you're going to get ammonia. And ammonia is poisonous to the body. So what the liver does, the liver is a big man. He stands there and he goes, okay, you're not coming in. That's it, plain and simple, right? So he says, sorry, amino acids, there are too many of you. And he starts breaking it down. Okay? Now, that is very, very, very important. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I want to see how clever you are on this one, because I haven't mentioned it. I want to know, and I will wait for it right to the end. I want to know, what is it called? This is it. It's very simple. When the liver breaks down excess amino acids. Okay, because I can give you all the answers. All the stuff I've given you is there. I want to know if you know. It's a nice word. Okay. Now, next one. A group of enzymes that break down protein. Breaks down protein. Enzymes that break down protein. And I keep saying this word, and it keeps somehow sounding wrong to me today, but it is absolutely right. It's protease. Okay, and if I have a look, just to make sure that you know it exactly, there it is. Protease. I know that you can't see that very nicely, I'm sure. So I'm going to use green. Protease. There it is. Okay, very nice. Now, next one. Next one, the form in which glucose is stored in the liver. It's glycogen. Remember that. Glycogen, I was explaining it to you. Now, I want to get onto this part, which is quite cool. The comparison between a herbivore and an omnivore. Now, before we carry on, do we know what that answer is?
It's deamination.
Deamination.
That's
Deamination.
Yes.
Very nice. Who was that?
Bonga and Bafana got it right.
Whoa! You brilliant.
Halala.
Deamination. Very, very nice. The breaking down of excess amino acids. Right. So now, remember I said to you guys, we were going to do the pig. We're going to dissect the pig. Why did we do the pig? Main reason is because it's an omnivore. And what are we? We are omnivores. Okay? I didn't want to do the sheep, because it's not the same. It's a herbivore. And I didn't want to go out and catch myself a saber-toothed tiger, because it is a carnivore. Right, so let's have a look at this. This is a nice thing. It says, complete the thing in your textbook, yada, yada, yada. And then it says, compare herbivores, as soon as I get a nice pen, compare the herbivore's nutrition and the carnivore nutrition. Okay, so let's go. Example of a mammal herbivore. Me, I like, if I can just do that, I like cow. Hey, what do you think?
Yeah,
a
cows
cow,
are good.
right? And another animal, a cat. Nice and simple, right? Let's see, the size and shape of a canine. When have you seen a cow walking around with these two things? Have you ever seen it?
No.
Huh? Walks and it bites you in the leg because it's not happy with what you're feeding it, which is grass, right? So, it's missing. It doesn't have it, right? And then, what does the cat have? If you have a look at the cat, they've got nice big ones. They're nice and long. They're nice and thin so that they can tear the meat very easily, right? And they are sharp. Very, 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 very important. Then, the size of the molars. The cows are flat and large, and the carnivore, which of course is your cat, has mainly got your carnassial teeth, right, instead of your molars. And then, of course, feeding, two things. I made it here. Long digestive system, because it's got to break down your plant stuff. And lastly, it's got your appendix, which breaks down cellulose. Your cat has got a short digestive system, and it does not have an appendix. Hopefully, I've left you with a lot of thought, okay? This is on the net, am I right? And
Yes.
you can have a look at it. There are more questions. Go through it and see if you can answer it. Luni, it's all yours.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Deboho, Buitumelo, Pride, Vince, Tandy, Calvin, everyone who got answers right today. Well done, guys. I'd like to thank Macmillan for sponsoring our show. And guys, we'll see you next week, same time, same place.